Doing, folks? How you doing? This is Pete, report, Sykes Group, Wilderness Division, and today I'm bringing you this little video to try to bring you to an awareness of what's going on in the world nowadays. Today I want to talk a little bit about loss. We face all types of loss in our lives. Some people lose jobs, some people lose family members, lose material things, and it can play a lot on our psyche and on our lives. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that recently I had lost my father to cancer. Now, even though my family's pretty tight and we keep things all together, my mom, who's been with my father for over 50 years, has found it very hard to kind of be by herself and to kind of basically function, because she's always used to having that other person. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this video, is because I wanted to bring to light to my community about what would happen in a scenario where the crap hit the fan. Alright, how would you deal with that loss of a family member, of a provider? How would you deal if you lost a child? One of the worst things a family could do, especially a parent, is have to bury a child. How would you cope with that? Alright, that could be a very serious and a very heartfelt issue. Like I said, the reason for bringing this video to you today is I wanted to ask you people, as a nation of humans who care for each other, to actually look about what's going on in the world and to prepare yourself for any possibility of what might happen. We keep on hearing in the news nowadays about wars. We keep on hearing about the possibility of civil unrest. We keep on hearing about the possibility of economic collapses. Well, in all honesty, a lot of these issues are happening in the world. Many places, like in Europe, are having banking systems collapse. It's happening in Italy. It has happened in parts of Germany. It has happened in Britain. It hasn't really happened too much in the United States. They keep on trying to make it look like everything's good. But the truth of the matter is you ask any working person out there how you doing, and they'll tell you straight to their face that they have a job. Basically just means just over broke. And that's what the problems are nowadays. Everybody talks about the stock market. Oh, the stock market's up, the stock market's up. The stock market's being manipulated to up because they don't want people to get scared and pull their money out of it and collapse the system. The same thing with the banking system. Banks are not doing very well. You keep on hearing that they're dropping interest rates, trying to get people to borrow money so they can bring more money into the system to hold up what they need to hold up so that their banking system doesn't collapse. I don't believe we have much of an economic future. They have to do something eventually before the system does implode. And like I said, that's not just us. That's across the globe. It's happening worldwide. Everything, unfortunately, is a domino effect. If the petrodollar collapses and a lot of the other foreign countries go back to the old monetary system of gold and silver, the United States is not going to be able to just turn around and say, well, my dollar is worth X, Y, and Z. Nobody's going to care. As far as they're concerned, that piece of paper they can use in the bathroom. And that's what we're facing now. So what I'm trying to bring to light is that you as an individual, you as a family member, you as part of a community, you as part of a state, you as part of a country, need to prepare yourself for when things happen. You need to prepare yourself against natural disasters, talking about Yellowstone possibly erupting, talking about this becoming a bad winter. We're in the year 2017. The forecast for this winter is supposed to be kind of rough. You have to prepare for that. Hurricane season in the States, the United States, is coming up on the East Coast, is coming up in another month. You have to look into that. Remember Sandy a couple years back and how it kind of wiped the hell out of us on the East Coast here? It's a possibility. Katrina a few years before that. pull the number. We don't know what we're in for. Now, just to also say that I'm not trying to produce doom and gloom. That's not my consciousness. As far as natural disasters go, that's something we have to look for. We have no control over it. But the other kind of disasters that we need to kind of be prepared for is they keep on talking about war. Korea's talking about nuclear war. They want to nuke us. You have to think about what happens if they drop a bomb on Japan, or if they drop a bomb on Seoul. You got so many innocent people going to get hurt for no reason because somebody wants to flex. In a war, the only people who win are the people who are not in the war. They sit back and they watch the countryside get devastated. Okay? People say that we might not be affected by Korea if we go to war because there's no nuclear way they're going to get a bomb here. I'm not so sure about that. But my point is that you should learn all you can learn now while you can. Think about terrorism. Think about possibility of a nuclear problem. Think about possibility of an EMP strike. Okay, they might not be able to get a nuclear bomb here, but if they drop one, a couple hundred miles in the sky over one of our cities, it could possibly knock out the electrical grid. All right, so that's something you might want to look into too. What do you do if you don't have power? How do you power your house? How do you take care of your refrigeration? How do you take care of your food? All right. So my suggestion to the people in my community, as well as other people in the States, because God bless us, I've got views from people as far away as England, and I'm proud of that. I'm glad other people seem to like our videos and watch it. So even for my friends across the pond, as they say it, no matter where you live, you guys need to learn to put stuff aside for future. You need to put away funds in case of an emergency. Whether you put away gold, you put away some silver, you stockpile the basic necessities: food, water, shelter, medical, safety. Safety could be something like firearms, possibly equipment for your house for firefighting, that type of protection. If you think you're in an area where you might have a problem with a nuclear or chemical or biological problem, you might want to look into getting some type of protective clothing, some type of breathing apparatuses, those type of different things. This video is too small to go into all this technical stuff, so my suggestion to you is that you should take the time now while we have the time and look into learning other educational things. Basic things that we should kind of look into on our level as being in the community. We should look forward to getting in touch with the local community emergency response teams. They will give you a good indication on how stuff is run in an emergency, as far as also training in certain fields. You'll see what they do with a search and rescue. You'll see what they do in a medical decision. You'll see how communications work in a disaster. They'll show you the chain of command from the top level all the way down to the local street level. Okay? Get in touch with your local police department. See about possibly joining their police league, the auxiliary league. See how they operate. See how they do traffic control. See how they set up things for events. See how they set up things in case of an emergency for evacuations. You could volunteer to work at an evacuation shelter or any one of the community services that deal with that. It might not be a thing to want to work a shelter, but they'll be able to, at least you can learn to see how the shelter works, how food is brought into a shelter area, how water is brought in and distributed out during an emergency. Okay, you'll learn what the priorities are in an emergency, how the local government think tanks provide for what they consider the most important things at first. Okay, you might think that your local church is an important agency until you get down and you find out that in a catastrophe or in a bad situation that they're going to go more for taking care of the medical aspect and the security aspect of stuff before they get down to like worrying about education and churches and stockpiling the local supermarket. Okay, these are all things you might want to learn and have to learn. You might want to learn getting in touch in some areas with your local fire department. A lot of fire departments are volunteers. Okay, New York City has a professional fire department that are hired and trained specifically for fighting fires. But on the outskirts, when you get into like Long Island, into other states, they have volunteer fire departments where you can go and you can learn how they fight fires. I'm not going to say you're going to be a professional firefighter. It will just give you an idea of what to do and procedures in case of an issue. Excuse me. Find your local hunting clubs, outdoors clubs. Possibly learn how to do rock climbing. Possibly take a hunter safety course. Learn how to use a firearm. How to protect yourself against a firearm. Even if a firearm is not something that you want or are used to, at least learn the safety aspects of it. Learn what to do in case somebody comes into an area where you are and they just decide, well, today I'm going to have a bad day and I'm going to shoot up the area. Learn what to do in an active shooter situation. How to protect your family. How to get out of an area like that. How to maybe shelter in place if something bad like that happens. That's something you might want to look into more. Local EMS departments, there's a lot of training out there you could get. Red Cross could teach you a lot of basic medical, CPR, first aid, safety. Private industries like REI, which is basically an outdoor adventure store which sells all this type of equipment for outdoor adventures, has a multitude of classes. You could learn map and compass. You could learn first aid. You could learn camping. Find your local Boy Scout and Girl Scout outfits. Talk to these people. See how they camp. Okay? Learn how to do things outside. Learn how to set up shelters in the outside environment. Okay? YouTube, which we're on now, has a very wide and very detailed group of individuals that spend their time putting together videos in order to teach you stuff. You could run the gamut of learning how to be self-sufficient in the wilds all the way up to the psychology and the psychology of what happens in a shift scenario when it hits the fan and things go sideways. YouTube videos by people like Canadian Prepper, the Prepared Mind channel, Dave Canterbury and his Wilderness Outfitters, Sykes Group. We make a wide variety of different videos, and we also do product evaluations. So do a lot of other companies, a lot of other individuals. For the people who are more religious oriented and church oriented, you have people like Pastor Joe Fox, Pastor Dow. They make videos with a little bit more of a religious content to them to show how their communities work together as a group and put stuff together. They'll show you how they farm. They'll show you how they produce their own electric, how they put food away, how they store food. Okay? You could go to companies that make freeze-dried food, E-Foods, Wise Food, Mountain House. They all make freeze-dried and packaged foods. But you could learn how to can and dry your own food. Bell Ball, which makes the jars for canning that I use for canning, they make very detailed paperback volumes of information that will show you exactly how to can your fruits, your vegetables, your foods, your soups, and how to process them for storage. All right? Take the time, look through your YouTube videos, look up what to do in a shift scenario, what to do for medical, okay? Look up videos on what to do for emergency preparedness. for equipment, for different types of things. You don't have to run out and buy everything in one shot. Just take your time. If you need be, email a lot of the people that I mentioned on YouTube, email Sykes groups, ask, if you have a question or something. Believe me, the amount of information and help that is out there will be returned to you without a problem. The more people in the know will mean the less people in the hurt later on when something bad does happen. You need to get in touch with the people in your community. Whether you live in a private house or you live in an apartment house. People who live in apartments house or in the city here, we call them projects. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know who your elderly people are in your house. They're going to need help when something goes sideways. Get to know where the kids go to school. This way you know that if something bad happens, you know where all the kids are. How to get them home. How to structure it so the parents who are working, who are not with their children, could feel somewhat safe that somebody's got their back to watch these kids. And so as we could get people back there. Okay? See if you have disabled people in your area. The block I live on here in Staten Island, I'm the youngest guy on the block and I'm 50. Okay? Most of my people are way older than me. Alright? I have a couple of younger people on the other end of the block, but because of their work and their kids being in school, you don't see them until they come home at night at 6 o'clock from whatever endeavor they're doing. So the other people who are basically on the block are all older people. You got to watch out for the older people. You got to just kind of keep an eye out in case something happens. Take your time, learn your deals, get into reading, watch the news, and please just don't watch the news where you sit down and watch ABC, and because ABC says it's going right, just don't follow that. Unfortunately, a lot of the news agencies nowadays are owned by somebody or some corporation that has an agenda. Listen to your alternative newses. Listen to your news sources from out of the States. Check your BBC. Check your Al Jazeera's. Check, the myriad of people who put things up on the web that do the research that a lot of our reporters don't do nowadays because they're not allowed to do it. Their parent companies, their bosses don't want it shown that way. They want it shown their way. Learn about what's going on in your community and in your world. Decipher for yourself what you think is true and what you think is bull. All right? Learn what you need to learn to protect yourself and your family. Okay? With that being all said, and me trying to get you into realizing that you kind of need to take care of yourself and your community first, the next thing I want to remind everybody about is you need to train. Okay? Reading and watching YouTube videos and reading reports and everything is a beautiful thing. But if you don't get out and you don't practice something, or at least try it, you're not going to be able to do it when you really need it. Okay? If you have to grab your family and walk 3 miles out of your neighborhood to safety, but you've never walked down the block to go to the store, think about how you're going to walk 3 miles in a disaster. Or when it happens. You get stuck in a snowstorm in your car and your child is sick and you have to get out of there and you can't get somebody to come to you. How are you going to carry your kid 6-7 blocks to the nearest hospital or safe area when you can't carry a gallon of milk up the stairs? You have to look at yourself and you have to be a little hard on yourself. You have to exercise. You have to eat right. You have to get your nutrition. You have to visit your doctor. If your doctor says you're a little bit overweight, bite the bullet. I had to lose 30 pounds. Okay? I was up to 180. I'm down to 169 right now. Okay? I still got a few more to go. All right? Is it hard? Yeah. I love bread. I'm Italian. I can't help it. It's a curse. All right? I love my pasta. But you have to learn how to do it. The same thing with everything else. You have to practice. Look into joining possibly a gym. Every gym you join, and gyms are cheap now, Crunch has a special, $10 a month, you can't go wrong. Join a gym. Every gym has somebody in there that's willing to help you learn how to basically run on a treadmill without falling down and killing yourself. They will help you, okay? They want that interaction. They want people coming in, talking to them and learning, okay? They want to see you succeed, because if you succeed, the next person behind you watching you will do the same thing, okay? Learn self-defense, okay? Go to your local karate school, okay? Here in Staten Island, I belong to the MMA, Mixed Martial Arts, New York City Mixed Martial Arts. The teacher, George Guzman, we've done a couple of his videos for him. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Talk to him. Find out about basic self-defense for you and your family. Just know what to do. You don't have to become the next Bruce Lee or anything, but at least know if somebody grabs you somewhere in the middle of the night, how do you get away? How do you move? Get the girls in your house and your young children, teach them rape prevention. Take them to a class. Let them know what to do if somebody grabs you. If somebody, not even grabs you, if somebody comes up to you in a car and says something, show your kids what to do. A lot of parents nowadays are afraid to teach their kids anything because they feel they got to protect them. Don't be that way. Have it done. Show your kids what possibly could happen if you go into an area you're not supposed to go into. Teach them how to get out of areas. Teach them how to call 911 for an emergency. They need to know just as much as you need to know, because at some time in their life, from being little to growing up, they're going to need this knowledge to protect themselves, because you're not going to be there all the time. And this, and people who have daughters, this goes out to you guys especially. Just because you have a little girl doesn't mean she's a little girl. Okay? You have to teach them even more about the world than you will teach your sons. Okay? Your daughters, there is so many people out there that might not be in their right mind. You got to protect your daughters. You got to show them what to do if somebody comes up and says something to them, or possibly does something to them. You got to show them what to do, how to dress, how to act. And that even goes for the boys too. Okay? Perception is a very big thing in life nowadays. What they see as children, they will mimic. So if mommy and daddy are flaunting bad habits, children are going to copy them and flaunt the same bad habits. Okay? If mommy and daddy learn preparedness and how to take care of themselves in an emergency and what to do in an emergency, your children will do the same thing. Alright? So, like I said, folks, I hope this video helps everybody out. I hope I didn't scare anybody, because that was not my purpose. I just want everybody to understand that in times when things get bad, once you lose somebody or you lose something, it's not that easy to get them back. Okay? I'd rather see you work at it now than cry about it later. Alright folks, thanks a lot for listening. I'm Peter Paw, Psych Scoop Wilderness Division. Have a great day.